the last few days, people have come to my live streams and were asking the questions like,
what do you think about the new horse ranch pack? Should I buy it? Is it worth the money?
Well, it's out for 3 days now, and I can already say I have spent more than 24 hours playing the new The Sims 4 horse ranch pack, so I think I am already ready to answer the question, should you buy it? In this video, I will talk about some of my favorite new features and items, then about also my biggest disappointments. I will provide you with the golden tip when you are playing with horses, so stay for that. And at the end, I will let you know whether this pack is worth your money. First, let's talk about cats. First, looking into hair, I have to say for me they seemed a little bit repetitive, and that I mean within the whole Sims 4 with all its packs, but I understand that there's also just so much you can do with human hair. So I understand that with new packs that are to come, we will probably just get some more recycled content or maybe some hairstyles that already look like we have them in the previous packs. There were 2 or 3 hairstyles for female and male Sims, which I can say I really liked, and I think that they are quite unique, but otherwise I think it's a little bit repetitive. When it comes to clothes, I have to say if you really want to play with this cowboy cowgirl storyline, the cast is perfect for you. There is a bunch of cowboy cowgirl stuff, many shirts designed this way, there is a lot of denim stuff, and also many jackets. But I have to say mostly in the male cast with tops, for example, I found it again a little bit repetitive, this time within this pack. I feel like there are many jacket combinations, and I feel like they quite resemble each other, and what I was really missing were some of those options which you would wear when you are probably really working somewhere on a ranch or farm. You are probably not going to be wearing a perfect denim jacket, but I would maybe imagine some loose shirts or something maybe that is quite dirty, a little bit scratched, not perfect, so this is something that I was quite imagining we would get as well. From the things that I really liked that we got were some really nice hats and shoes options that were really fitting with this pack, and I think they have really nice and realistic swatches as well, and also the new bandana, and I'm very happy that we got also some plain swatches when you are not playing with this cowboy lifestyle. What I thought I would like but ended up not liking as much were the dirty options, where you have some cloth pieces that have also swatches which are clean but also swatches which are dirty, and they were sold as a storytelling pieces where you can tell a story of someone who is working on farm a lot. But I felt like you have to create a whole outfit where your sim is dirty. I would like an option where my sims get dirty automatically when they are, for example, doing some work on the farm, when they would really get dirty in real life, for example, like cleaning a horse bed. They would only get clean again if, for example, the sim goes to shower. Because I feel like having those dirty outfits, I don't want my sim to wake up and already be dirty, like they were working on something, working on the farm. So I feel like I would like much more if I could turn it on and off. And the other thing that I would like to be able to turn on and off for my sims to get automatically is the helmet option. Right now you have to put helmet on the outfit of the sim, but I would much rather be able to set this preference that I want my sims to wear helmet all the time when they are riding a horse. For example, we have something similar with your sims taking off their shoes when they enter the house with snowy escape, where you can turn on or off your preference, and then the next time that sims are riding a horse, they would automatically be wearing a helmet. A huge disappointment, unfortunately, in cast came with kids. There is no cowboy or cowgirl style. There is not really anything that would match your adult sims that are already wearing this style. And just to illustrate, for kids, for boys, we got exactly 1 top, 1 bottoms option and 1 shoes. For girls, we got 2 tops, 2 bottoms, and 1 shoes options. I feel like this is really disappointing, and it's quite similar also with toddler options from this pack. And another huge disappointment are the infants. I feel like at this point, if you don't have the growing together pack, you really don't have that many options for infants. There is just this one onesie that we got, which is super cute, but I feel like this is really missed opportunity. I feel like at least hairstyle, like they could have given some hairstyle for those infants, because really, if you don't have growing together, there are really very limited options. We have 2 new trades, rancher and horse lover, and I already saw that these have impact. For example, if your rancher sim is not doing some activities connected to taking care of the ranch, they will get quite a negative moodlet, and the same with horse lover. If they don't socialize with horses or do some training for a long time, they also get negative moodlet, which I really like. Then we have 2 new aspirations. One is connected to nectar making and the second one is connected to horse riding. creating. What I found a little strange is that these aspirations have just one really huge tier. Normally we have, for example, 3 or 4 tiers which have smaller goals within them. I feel like it's a matter of preference whether you like them to be really big and just one chunk or split into smaller goals, and it doesn't matter in this point. I feel like what matters is that it's inconsistent with the rest of the game, where the aspirations really had those smaller broken down tasks. For example, right now with this nectar making aspiration, you already have to level up to the maximum of nectar making skill. You have to make 100k creating and selling the nectar, and I feel like it could have been split up to some smaller portions. For example, one of the levels could be to just reach level 2 of nectar making and make just 10k making nectar and selling it. So this is just a preference. I just think that it's inconsistent, but other than that, I really like the aspirations and also the new traits. All in all, for Cass, if you are trying to create this ranch lifestyle storytelling and maybe cowboy, cowgirl, it is really satisfying to have this Cass. Other than that, if you are not maybe playing with these kind of storylines, it is a little bit insufficient. Let's talk about Create a Horse. I have to say, when we entered Create a Horse for the first time on my live stream, I was just so impressed. The horses are so beautiful. There are some really beautiful breeds of them. There are really nice options for customization. They have so many hair color options, and I have to say, this is making me so angry. Because look, I see so many people playing the Not So Berry challenge, and when they have this pink generation, they put this really ugly pink hair on the Sims, because what are the options? When they have a blue generation, this disgusting hair. When they have a green generation, this disgusting hair color. And horses have the most beautiful pastel color options for their hair. This is exactly what I want when I want my Sims to have pink hair. This is what I want when I want my Sims to have blue hair. This for green hair. These beautiful pastel colors, and I just don't understand why we cannot get those options for Sims. Other than that, I really like that we have this paint mode option. I personally will never use it, but I know there are some amazing creative people in the Sims community that do some really amazing stuff with it. And also, if you, for example, have a horse, or you maybe are training some horse somewhere in the training center, I know that you might really appreciate that you might create like little marks that they have in real life and customize them so that they are really your horse also in the Sims. Horses have also their own traits, and I really like the icons specifically for the brave horses, fearful horses, and mellow horses. I just love those icons. I noticed this immediately. Let's talk about the new world, Chestnut Ridge. I have to say, I was quite afraid when I saw the trailer that it's going to be resembling Strangerville too much, but I have to say at the end it turned out really unique, really nice, and really something new that we don't have yet in the game. Also, when comparing neighborhoods, you have these huge neighborhoods with a lot of space where you can ride with your horse, which makes a lot of sense. But also on my live stream we were talking about when you compare them to some of the smaller ones, for example in Willow Creek or in Oasis Springs, it makes so much different and it's so much more beautiful. I saw some people on the internet complaining about the number of lots, but for me personally it was just the size of lots that really surprised me. I feel like the lots are really small. If you want to create, for example, a big house with 4 bedrooms, tell a generational story, maybe have also a barn, have horses, maybe even cows, chickens, maybe also a garden, I feel like the lots are mostly so small for that. One more thing that I was really surprised and a little bit disappointed about was that we didn't get a new lot type, for example, the horse training place where you would have all those obstacles. Maybe you could have grills, so people who love training their horses and are coming there with their horses would be able to have maybe some grill parties over there. And also one thing that I would love to have is wild horses in general, so that you can then adopt them when you befriend them. And also maybe a lot type just like we have with cats and dogs, where strays come to the lot more often. I don't even have to say that the builds are so beautiful. The Simmers made such a great job, I think, with all the builds. And what I really like is that compared, for example, to San Sequoia, we got also a 3-bedroom house, which is already quite big, which is empty in the game when you enter it for the first time. So even if you have a few generational family moving in for the first time entering a new game, you have a big house already to move into. I really like that. Now let's talk about gameplay, and first we will talk about horses. I think that horses generally provide a really great challenge challenge for a longer term if this is something that you like. I was comparing it also to the university in The Sims, so it is some goal that doesn't take just 1 week, it's not easy, you can actually also fail it, and I was seeing two types of challenges in this gameplay with horses. One of them is building your horse's value, and the other one is winning all of the competitions that are available. What I really liked was that horses actually have emotions and they also have some impact. For example, if your horse is not in a great mood, they might not score as well in the competition. Traits also have some impact, so for example, defiant horse will tend to be more tense. And one thing that I found really interesting when I was playing with my private gameplay is that the brave horse could calm down a scared horse who was scared because of, I don't know, thunderstorm or something. Horses have those very basic needs, but I really wish we had more options for objects that we can place for them to satisfy those needs. For example, for their fun, we have just this one ball, which is super funny as animation, I have to say, I was surprised. But I would wish that we would have maybe some more objects for them to satisfy their fun, for example, like a cube of salt they can lick on. Also for hunger, for thirst, you have really just this one feeder and not many options. When it comes to skills of the horses, they have 4 skills and I think they are split up really nicely. You have 3 skills that you can train by really moving around with them and training them, that is endurance, agility and jumping. And the 4th skill is temperament, which is built by interacting with Sims. Some benefits of increasing the horse's skill is that they will be better with, for example, going through the barrels or jumping through the obstacles, but also they will get less fatigued. They will be also able to train by themselves without the sim on their back, but also some really cool interactions can be unlocked with some skills. For example, when your horse has agility level 7, the interaction for sims will be unlocked when they talk to a horse about something about agility and they get a temporary boost for fitness and dancing skill. I thought that was really a great idea. For sims, there's just one skill, which is horse riding, and by increasing this skill, you can instruct your horse to train by themselves. You can train them more intensely, which means you train them faster, but they also get more fatigued, or you don't get backed off of the horse so much. And now the golden tip, the lifesaver. I would not play without it anymore. Please download the Controllable Pets mod. It helped me so much with the horse's needs and skills, so I didn't have to always go and open their profile when I wanted to check what is their skill at. You could really just open it as for a sim. So this is definitely something I recommend. It will make it so much easier for you. If you find this tip or anything from this video helpful, please consider giving it a like. Giving like to any of my content helps much more than you think, so thank you if you did so. When it comes to training your horses, I think training the endurance, which is done by just riding through the world, is amazing and beautiful, but I found training jumping and agility through the barrels and jumping obstacles really boring. The reason for that is that they will really just use this one obstacle. They will go from one side, jump through the obstacle, then wait, turn around, jump back, and keep just jumping through that one. I wish I could put just one after another, for example, 3 obstacles, and they would be jumping through them as through a system of obstacles, but this is quite boring and made training of jumping and agility really boring for me. Also, what I was missing was variety of, for example, obstacles. I would like to have, I don't know, water jumps. For barrels and for jumping obstacles, there are 2 options. One is more like fancy and one is cheaper, but I would really love to have more options and more variety. I feel like the general agreement within the community is that the temperament skill is the most difficult to train, and that is because you have to be socializing with your horse a lot. But other than that, I have to say I really like how they are split up and the whole system of how you are training each one of them. Now let's talk about competitions. This is really interesting. You have 4 types of competitions. Each one of them is focused on 2 horse skills, and within each one of these types you have 4 levels of difficulty. And when you pass all the 16 competitions, you will go to the ultimate championship. In the beginning I was quite sad I can only do 1 competition per horse per day, but at the end it ended up making a lot of sense and I was really enjoying working through this goal for a longer period of time. All in all, it was a great challenge. I really enjoyed this system. I have just 2 things I would maybe improve. First of them is I think the prizes when you win the competition are quite low. Maybe at the end we will have some modder that will work on this. That would be absolutely amazing. And the second one is that it's not as dynamic as in The Sims 3, where you were competing, you were really seeing at which place you are. You could maybe say that you you want to risk or you want to take it easy, depending also on your skill. You were ranking, you were seeing at which rank you are currently. Sometimes it would change the last second and you were really sad. So this is something that I found was more dynamic, more fun. Right now you really just get this result at the end of the race. Let's talk about ways how you can acquire a horse. So of course the first one is to create them in CAS. The second one would to breed them. So if you have a good enough relationship with your horse, you can ask them to breed with another horse on a lot, and then they would get a baby foal. Once the baby horse is born, they get also an extra skill which can be acquired only by breeding. You have to take care of them, they are really cute, you have to bottle feed them. You can only trade them for temperament at this stage, and they are full for about a week. The third option is to buy a horse for 1000 simoleons, and the fourth one is probably my most favorite one. You can rescue a horse for a discounted price of 250 simoleons. There are horses of all ages, and these horses come from an environment where they were probably not treated well, and so they get 1 up to 3 negative traits. What I was getting the most was aggressive, defiant or fearful horses. I think this is so beautiful for storytelling, and I will be creating a whole video on storytelling and some scenarios to play with the new pack. So if you are interested in something like that, definitely consider subscribing. That will be coming very soon. When it comes to children riding horses, they can ride around the neighborhood, and it's building their motor and the horse riding skill, and it's building endurance skill for the horse, but they cannot do training with barrels or with jumps. I know that some simmers were disappointed that you cannot teach your child to ride a horse quite similarly by how you can teach them to ride a bike. So at the end, children can ride the horse, but it's quite limited. When it comes to some other stuff connected to horses, I was really hoping for some new career. It could have been a rabbit hole career, maybe something like a horse trainer. And one more thing I want to talk about is a horse price. I find it super cool that you can be increasing your horse price by training them and going to those competitions. But what I really didn't like is that you see the price of a horse anytime you open their profile. Some people want to play a storyline of adopting a horse, having it their whole life, being best friends, and all the time when you want to check skills, open the profile, you see the price and it's like, hey, if you want to sell your best friend. I would like to maybe see it when I clicked on sell a horse on a phone or something like that, but not maybe every time I check their profile. And when we are talking about the fact that horses have some price as they are more trained, why cannot I adopt a horse which already is a little bit trained? So right now you can only adopt a horse for 1000 simoleons and they have 0 skills. I would maybe like a horse which has level 5 in some skills and costs 4000. I would really like that possibility. Let's talk about mini goats and mini sheep. And the first time as we adopted mini goats and mini sheep on our stream, we were all like, oh, it's so cute, but that's all there is to it. To some degree, you can compare them, for example, to cows or chickens that we already have in the game, but these, you can literally have them in your inventory. They are just objects, you can size them up in build and buy. What doesn't make sense at all is that you bottle feed them, so they are babies, but at the same time they can eat hay, so they are not. They also can be milked, which means that they are adults. I feel like there are so many contradictions. They cannot even reproduce like chickens do. They were marketed as these great companions, but what I saw is just unfinished feature. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. It doesn't really have a lot of depth, so this is really something that I would rather not have there. Next on my list is nectar making, and I have to say I am so very excited about this skill. It also reminds me of the Sims 3 World Adventures, and I have to say my favorite little tiny feature that makes a lot of sense, has a lot of depth, and is actually so easy, is that in a basement your nectar, or aka wine, ages much faster, which I really love. But some disappointments came also with nectar making. First of all, have you seen this texture of the fruits that you put into there? It really looks like some mush. I was expecting to see maybe pieces of fruit, and also when you do this prairie grass nectar, it looks like Shrek, like literally the color screams Shrek.
Oh, Lordy.
Also, what I wished for was that it would be a level 10 skill where you could, for example, have more nectar options. You could create some more expensive nectar, some more special nectar with some ingredients, for example, like a nectar that would make you have a romantic mood, that would make you be better at fitness, that would make a sim dance out of the blue if you would serve it to them. Also, I would wish that the nectar making station would be upgradable. So, for example, it would break, so you could make it break less by upgrading it. it. It would make Nectar faster, maybe better quality, maybe you could make more bottles by doing it just once. Now let's talk about Build and Buy. Build and Buy has a lot of items with wooden swatches and actually really nice swatches. It is not very much yee-haw, I would say it's much more of cabin vibes. Let me show you some of my favorite items that came with this pack. This kitchen counter with detailed wood countertop is really beautiful. I love the new beds with really beautiful bed sheets, which actually look like they fit to a kid's bedroom. Then this chair with blanket over it, so it's kind of used and scratched, and maybe you just put a blanket over it so that no one can see it. This floral picture is really beautiful, and I like this detailed fireplace as well. If you want to build a whole winery, and this is what you are looking for, you have really so many beautiful options and decorations. For example, barrels, crates with wine, storage racks, also new bar and bar stools. One big improvement compared to The Sims 3 is that you can actually build and customize your own stables, which I think is really great because there are so many creative people in the Sims community, which I think will create such a unique and beautiful stables. And that's why I also said I would like to have more options with, for example, how the feeder looks like, or what are some options for fun meat. And I would maybe like to have some objects that makes a dedicated place to, for example, clean my horse, so I could have more places that are dedicated to certain activities with the horses, but this might be just a personal preference. When it comes to build mode, we have only wooden walls coming with this pack. We have also quite nice wooden floor. We have two very nice brick floors. One is very realistic and I see it a lot around where I live. We have great and simple, beautiful wooden stairs with two types of railing. One is more ranchy and one is more universal. We have new fences and gates that actually match those fences perfectly, which makes me so satisfied. All in all, I feel like there is a lot of wood, but really the swatches are really beautiful and really usable. It is giving me very much cabin or grandma house vibes. I was actually surprised by a lack of items which were horse related or horse decorated, which I think can get a little bit boring if you want to really focus on those horses and maybe build a stable with a bunch of horses stuff and horses decorations. And now talking about some other features, I want to talk about the ranch hand service. I think that this service is such a perfect addition. Right now when we have cottage living and we also have this new pack, people will probably want to build huge ranches, huge farms where they will have horses, llamas, chickens, cows, gardens, I don't know what else. And I think it could get a little bit overwhelming and also boring just taking care of that every single day. And so having a service which comes and actually takes care of everything if you don't want to, I think it's perfect. One thing which I really liked as well, that the repairs are included, so this is really perfect. The other thing is Cowpoke dance, and I have to say this is so energizing, this is so cute and funny, how my grandmas in the game and also Nancy Landgraf would be jumping to the heights, dancing this special dance. What I thought was a little bit weird and maybe could be adjusted was that my Sims in my private gameplay were dancing Cowpoke to electronica. But if electronica is what brings the Cowpoke vibes for you, then please to each their own. Next, quite controversial topic, unicorns. I feel like this is such a wasted opportunity. I personally would rather have unicorns than the mini goats and mini sheep. And I am super surprised because horses are already there, so you could add maybe some more cast features and gameplay features and could have unicorns instead. I would imagine it somehow like during the midnight, only on Sundays, by the waterfall, which already exists in Chestnut Ridge, you would be able to meet unicorns, but they would not run away only if you have riding skill level 3, you have maybe befriended one animal already in the game, similar to how it was in The Sims 3. You could adopt them after meeting them 3 times, they would have slightly better temperament gain, they would glow slightly in the night, I don't know, something like this. I was really dreaming about this. And now, the most important thing, the conclusion. Should you buy this pack? Is it worth it? So first, let me clear this part. If you are a horse lover, if you really like the Western culture, or if you want to build ranches, absolute yes. Like there is no doubt you will just love this pack. It's perfect for you. And then if you are maybe more neutral, and if you are maybe more like me, prefer city gameplay and maybe in San Myshuno, Copperdale, San Sequoia, then also it depends on whether you are asking me if it should be your first pack. If you are looking for your first pack and you are not too much in love with Western culture and horses and ranches, CAS is very specific, so you are probably not going to find many options which are very universal. The build and buy is very specific and has those cabin vibes, so it will probably not fit into Oasis Springs or Willow Creek. And gameplay is really 80% horses, so if you don't care about horses and will not play with them that often, I feel like you will not have anything new to gameplay. If you already have some packs and are already quite satisfied with what you have in your game and maybe you are looking for something new, I have to say I was not expecting I would have so much fun with this pack. Riding and competing really provides this long-term challenge if this is something that you know you like. It is also not the most easiest challenge. I also have to say that because I am so used to this gameplay of city lifestyle, it was so difficult for me to first commit to this cowboy or cowgirl lifestyle, but once I committed to it, it was so very satisfying to be creating those outfits in CAS. Other than that, I would say it is really niche, and I really understand that it takes a lot of resources to animate a whole horse and the movements are really perfect, but as a player you still see it as one feature. It's one thing to play with, and this is not going to change how I look at the pack. So I feel like at the end it really also depends on how you feel, what is maybe your preferred gameplay, what you would be excited to have in your game right now and play with. All in all, I feel like it's a great pack if you are really interested on those things that it's focused on. I have to say that I pre-ordered it and paid full price for it because I am a content creator and I wanted to deliver content to you right away after it came out. But if I wasn't, I would probably not buy it right now. I would wait and maybe buy it in sale, but once again you have to take a look at your personal gameplay and what you prefer. If you are still watching, thank you very much for being here until the end. You can definitely let me know in the comments that you made it to the end. Also let me know what are some of your favorite features from the new pack, whether you have it or not. You can consider subscribing if you like The Sims. I make a ton of content here on YouTube, also stream it here on YouTube. So thank you very much. I will see you on my next videos, on my live stream or on Discord. Bye bye, see you!